Let's podcast. Thursday, just after 2 o'clock. It's time to go OG live. Thanks to our friends at Sleek Fleet. Check them out online at sleek-fleet.com. As always, we're brought to you by Copiers Plus. But on Thursdays, when we are live and Giglio is troubleshooting a dead computer, it's brought to you by Sleek Fleet. Can they Sleek Fleet over a new Mac for you?
They could.
You know what, man? I'm convinced that your issue is that your charger block probably died. Okay. If I had to guess. So I think when we're done here, I'm going to try hooking it up with another USB to see what happens.
Yeah, that's a thing.
I mean, here, tell you what, while we're
yours is different though.
No, it's not. Here, give me, folks. When we say it's live, this is truly live. And Joe just found out we're scrambling here a little bit. We had, calling a couple audibles here before we get started. Even though I got the Roy Williams conversation in the can. So tell you what I'm going to do.
Okay.
When I run Roy,
we'll try to figure something out.
I got 17 minutes to figure it out.
Okay.
All right.
I like that.
And I have a feeling.
I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to leave it.
I got a hunch. I felt a tremor in the force.
If you have a hunch, Mark Gottfried says,
I think that might be the case. Speaking of hunches, do you have any hunches on the NCAA baseball tournament? The road to Omaha begins. We got a text from our friend Roddy Jones. He's in town.
That's awesome.
I love seeing that. He's like, hey, I'm here. He, shows me the dugout to the Wolfpack bench. He is ready to go. Like, hey, man, we got to catch up on this kind of stuff. But the regionals are local, loaded, and people are hype about NC State, Carolina, Duke, ECU.
Are you with a current member of the SEC? No? That's great. That's you, Duke. That's you, ECU.
Yeah.
Are you with an SEC team who won the national championship last year? Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
That's you, Carolina.
Oh, no.
Are you with an SEC team who regularly comes to the Triangle and or ECU and or those teams go there and they lose? Uh-oh, NC State. That's you with South Carolina. No, they really just need to rename this thing the SEC Invitational. I think the top 5 teams in the top 5 betting favorites are all from the SEC.
Yeah.
Tennessee is the number 1 team in the country. They are not the betting favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Texas A&M, an SEC team, is the betting favorite. So I could sit here and tell you I love Aaron Fitt, and Aaron Fitt, by the way, did tell me to take Texas A&M.
Okay.
But the truth of the matter is I trust Vegas a whole lot more than I trust anybody covering college baseball.
So Chris, who runs a very, very good newsletter, which I've referenced multiple times on this podcast throughout the basketball season, Daggum Box Scores, he has a Substack called Bless Your Chart. He had put together the RPI, the Vegas odds, and what they like to call WAB, W-A-B, which is wins above bubble.
Yes.
Wins above bubble was interesting during the college basketball season. And I'm putting this up on YouTube. If you're watching along live on YouTube, you can see this chart in front of me.
If you're not Joe,
if you're not Giglio, who has a dead computer at this moment, I mean, it is what it is. So I will just. This is where you have to paint the picture.
That's right. Your radio skills.
This is where my radio skills. They never leave me.
Coming in.
Right? So you're looking at the Raleigh Regional. You got NC State, South Carolina, James Madison, and Bryant. South Carolina is the odds-on favorite to come out of this regional at 46.5%. NC State, though, is like in a dead heat, 44.4. But what's interesting in looking at all the metrics, you start to understand why some teams have gripes about how things got set up and why teams probably shouldn't have any gripes when it was all said and done.
Duke, you don't have a gripe, man. You're in a great spot to get through. And
so
all of these Pac-12 teams every year get through because they don't get an SEC team sent out their way.
And I'm looking at this North Carolina, again, odds-on favorite to come out of the Chapel Hill region. LSU is there with them at 47.6%, and North Carolina's 52.4%. But again, you look at North Carolina's resume, you look at their RPI, you look at their wins above the bubble, 2, 4, and 4, for heaven's sake. And then you get to Duke, which I know had the gripe in Chris Pollard. No, I'm sorry. It was Cliff Godwin who essentially had gone through the Joe Giglio yellow pad-esque, we're going to defend our resume. Duke's is actually pretty good too at 12,
got a great resume.
10, and 16.
Yeah.
But again, that gets down to the travel aspect of it. But here's my ultimate takeaway when I've started to put myself into the mindset of college baseball now that we're fully into it, right?
Okay.
Casual college baseball fan has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. 2 quick thoughts. One is related to Duke and clearing up some misconceptions or some confusion on my part. Because again, I will admit, I was not exactly locked in when it came to college baseball this season. It happens. We got sidetracked by the Canes, basketball, all sorts of stuff, and baseball just took a back seat. It is what it is. But Chris Pollard, the baseball coach at Duke, has made a concerted effort starting this year to start getting back to on-campus games. So the relationship with the Durham Bulls has come to an end, and that was from Chris Pollard and the Duke program because they really want to get these renovations fast-tracked. But you had said something earlier in the week that Duke is a late arrival onto this giving a shit about college baseball. Chris Pollard is part of building what it is that they're trying to be. But there's another factor here too, and it also comes down to selling of tickets. And I do wonder sometimes when it comes to state, I know that Doak is going to be full because state fans are going to ride for it. I know Boshemer is going to be full because of Carolina and the following that they have. I don't know what Duke's draw is in the triangle comparative to, say, ECU, Carolina, and NC State. But all that goes out the window anyway because of all the baseball tournaments or of all the tournaments that exist. College baseball is the biggest crapshoot of them all. So, home field advantage, I get all that kind of stuff. But, man, I don't even know if that's necessarily an advantage because you do see those who don't host come out of this thing all the time. So I'm fine. Duke will get to a super regional.
If you were to ask me who I had the most confidence of reaching a super regional out of all of our teams, I would say for the plain simple purpose that they don't have to face an SEC team. I would say number 1, Duke. And then I would say number 2, ECU, even though they're banged up, because Wake Forest is the classic case of don't pick a team a year late.
Yeah.
Last year was Wake's year. This is not Wake's year.
As I mentioned, you can look up college baseball on DraftKings. I'm actually looking at the odds.
Yeah, you can
right
pick
now.
The winner from each regional. I tried to parlay them. DraftKings wouldn't let me, and I'm not very happy with our official corporate champion on that front, to be perfectly honest with you. I wanted to put all of those SEC teams together because I think they're all going to win.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the Chapel Hill regional winner, right? LIU, by the way, is plus 10,000. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Wofford's plus 900.
No.
I don't have any more. I have to refund. I have to put
me.
More funds.
Just give me the money.
I know. North Carolina's minus 110, right? You look.
No, I like LSU to come out of there.
You like LSU?
I think Carolina should really be upset with what has transpired here, sir.
What do we got? Bryant is plus 2,000 in the Raleigh regional. Again, South Carolina's plus 115. So yeah, anyway, you can do all this stuff in the DraftKings app. Go check it out. It's very, very cool. You can do the regionals. You can do the futures for who gets to the College World Series. You can actually do the games as well. And we're also in the middle of the NBA playoffs. We got the NHL playoffs too. But with the Canes out, I'm kind of shoulder shruggy. I've moved on to what's going on in the NBA.
That Western Conference game last night was drunk.
Yes. What was it? 5 goals?
I mean, it was 5
goals, right?
Right quick, sir.
Okay. 5-2 final, but all those goals came there at the end. Anyway, but with the NBA playoffs right now, you can go to DraftKings, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use that promo code OG24. You bet $5 after using the promo code OG24, you will get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Again, use that promo code OG24. Bet $5 and you'll get the $200 in bonus bets.
Housekeeping.
So yes, I think people like our homemade sung jingles rather than the produced ones that we have.
Well, we're back at the home base, though.
We're back at the home base, which means
if you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, you get it clean with Enovana.
So you can check out Enovana, enovana.com, green cleaning, ENOVANA.com. We have not talked about our breaking tea shirts in a while. We kind of took a break after hammering them during the Final Four run. Shout out to everybody who has purchased said tickets. or purchased said shirts. And Freddie, Duke Report, goes by Skilo22 on the social medias. He posted the OG shirts, so comfortable, are easily becoming my go-to hiking shirts. Looking forward to future designs. Sharp Top Mountain, Peaks of Otter.
I don't know. Just go with it.
Yeah, Peaks of Otter, elevation of 3,875. That's Bedford, VA. Is Bedford where I put the dot accidentally?
I think so.
On the map?
In fairness,
Because
I'm
it
the one who put the
is
dot.
it is the dead conference map.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's where we put the
So
dot.
we need a football.
Yeah, so this is why I brought this up. So go to breakingt.com/OG. I don't know.
Something with F.
I love otters.
FSU.
So anyway,
Clemp.
I do love otters.
Something with Clemp.
River otters specifically. But
so long.
Oh, okay.
Seminoles.
Okay, so this is why I brought this up.
Wait,
So
workshopping,
buy
or-
the shirts now. Go to breakingt.com/OG. Breaking Tea, we got this one. We got the Ice Caps one, which is very, very popular. We got the OG flag, which people really like. We got the positive vibes only, all that stuff, right? So this did get me thinking. We have time to workshop a beginning of the football season shirt.
Okay.
Do we completely punt that and try to do some sort of variation of the state ready Raleigh All-Star? There's also one. So a lot of our shirts are, well, actually, not a lot of them. All of our shirts, the show shirts, are basically takes on defunct things. you
Right.
know? Defunct shirts for a defunct radio show that's now a podcast. The one we haven't done, but I've been trying to kick around the idea, is the Raleigh Bullfrogs. In fact, when we had Lavelle Moten in here, he even brought up, he's like, because he hadn't been to the studio yet, so he was checking out all the old stuff, and we got to get some Central Gear in here. But he asked, "Do you have any Raleigh Bullfrog stuff?" I'm like, I'm pretty sure Chris Corciani has all
the keeper.
all of them. He's got a duffel bag that could probably get big money on eBay or Poshmark or wherever you might go, right? So I'm wondering if there's a way to use the frog that's dribbling a basketball, but turn that into like a caricature of like Raleigh Man.
Huh.
I don't know. I'm just something I'm putting out there.
Pretty obscure, Joe.
Well, so was the Skyhawk shirt, and people loved it, right? I don't know. I'm just kicking around ideas, man.
Pretty obscure, Joe.
We have time. We have time to think about this. So anyway, oh wait, sorry, I just looked at the comments. This is great because you don't have access to the computer,
can't
so
be
you can't look at the
distracted.
comments. But this one cracked me up. Todd Holliday on the YouTube comments. I'm sorry, did the guy who picked Gonzaga every year say don't pick a team a year late?
That's my motto. Yes. Well, that's the corollary.
that's
You pick them
pretty good.
every year until they win, and then I finally
yeah,
had to set
yeah.
them free.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Good
All right,
call,
anyway,
Todd.
we are taking suggestions on the next shirt. I don't know what to do in this regard. We shall see. Big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Check them out, bugsbite.com. You can bundle and save. It's that prime time of the year. Weather was actually really, really nice this morning. Maybe you're trying to hang out on your back patio, your back deck, whatever. You don't want the mosquitoes to ruin it.
I gotta tell you, I love the Raleigh Country Club, but it was buggy.
It was. You could see us
It
on the
was
video,
it was
just like
buggy.
swatting away gnats and stuff like that.
I was
man.
like, hey man, Hayes is a member out here. He can help you.
so
I can connect you.
So check them out, bugsbite.com. Also, big thanks to Longleaf Swine for sponsoring us. I think we are going to be back at Longleaf Swine in a couple of weeks, maybe.
Yeah, it might coincide with a golf tournament that shall not be named.
That's right. They're on your shit list right now, but
Yes.
it is what it is. But we might be out there. I was there this past Sunday, did the brunch, finally did the breakfast burrito.
finally.
Did not do the chicken pot pie.
me.
Did not do the chicken pot pie. But I did the breakfast burrito, which comes with the chopped brisket.
Mhm.
Absolutely
you're
delicious. Absolutely.
That sounds
And they also had
amazing.
like a classic. They just had like a classic breakfast plate with bacon,
That's
eggs,
amazing.
and a biscuit.
chopped brisket.
Yeah, man. It was really, really good. So I highly recommend you check out Longleaf Swine for brunch if you're looking to change things up. So again, big thanks to Longleaf Swine for sponsoring Ovies Giglio. So Joe referenced it. We were at Raleigh Country Club yesterday for the UNC Health Championship. Roy Williams was taking part in the Pro-Am. And, we harassed Roy a little bit, or you specifically harassed Roy a little bit when he was trying to get out of the bunker. Or no, he wasn't in the beach. He was just outside of it.
He was, but it wasn't his
It
shot.
wasn't
he
his
claimed.
shot. Okay, fair enough. He showed us his shoes, all that kind of
You're
stuff.
having a hard day if you're hitting out of the bunker.
So
Scramble, sir.
So where we were set up, it was on the 18th green, nice pavilion, and Roy came over to our recording spot, hung out with us for a little bit. We opened up the conversation with me asking him if Giglio's harassment is really just low on some of the things he might have heard while he's been out and about on the golf course.
I've got such a low attitude and evaluation of him, it doesn't make any difference. So how can anybody be any worse?
Yeah, he was harassing you. He was like, hey, I texted you. And I think your lie back to him was, I text the people I like back.
Yeah. Well, I don't need many pen pals, and I certainly don't need one named Big Joe Giglio.
Oh, come on.
No, Joe's a good boy. He is.
Yeah, you put up with him. I put up with him too. So we got that
See,
in
you're
common.
the one. There's you and his family that I feel sorry for.
Jessica.
I just see him once every 3 or 4 months.
Jessica's a saint. We understand this.
I would offer you pizza, but you don't like pizza.
No, don't eat pizza. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So all of the things I like, you don't like.
Well, you need to change.
So
you need to change.
So I got to say,
Okay.
did you think you would live long enough to see NC State win an ACC championship? Again, I should say.
I don't believe I'm going to live till tomorrow. What he's talking about there, the fact that NC State won the ACC tournament doesn't have a lot to do with my evaluation of my life. But
you,
other than Carolina losing, were you mad?
No, I was not. No,
Okay.
I was really just frustrated because we didn't play as well as I thought we should play, and Coach Davis, he didn't play as well as he wanted them to play, and the kids. But I didn't think we played well. But State did play well. And that's what you got. It's not just about North Carolina. The other team has a hand in choosing the outcome, and I thought they played well.
I had people point this out to me. I can't take credit for this. But State played DJ Burns, Mo Diarra, 2 bigs,
Yep.
got up and down the floor,
Yep.
looked awful familiar in style.
Yep.
You think it's an accident that NC
No, I
State
think-
played Roy Williams, Dean Smith basketball?
I guarantee
and
you,
wins an ACC
Kevin's not going to
championship?
admit that, boy. I guarantee you. No, but I do still. If I was coaching today, I'd still play 2 big guys, make people adjust. I mean, the best line I've ever heard in my life was in 17. On the Sunday night between the games at the Final Four, Mark Few said, this is the first time all year that I've had to prepare to play 2 big guys like we play 2 big guys. We're the only 2 teams in the country that play 2 big guys all the time. I said, we're the only 2 still playing, too, so we're all right. So I'd still play that way.
Not bad.
Did you do you understand what going viral on the internet is?
Have no idea,
Okay.
but I do. 2 people says that means a lot of people are looking at it.
Yeah. You had 2 instances. So I want to get into the mind of Roy Williams here.
Okay.
The first
That's
one was
a bad
actually
place to go. I can tell you.
look, there's golf Roy and then there's basketball Roy.
Okay.
I know there's 2 versions of this, but I think it was in the NC State Carolina game. I had a buddy of mine text me like, this had to be bothering Roy, that NC State of all teams, and it was a still of you on television with just a disappointed face.
I would say 1%.
Okay.
The other 99 is just about us. I didn't like the way we played. Coach didn't like the way we played. The players didn't. But that was what it was. If we don't win, frankly, my dear, you've heard that before.
Yes.
I really don't care that much about what else goes on. And the fact that it was NC State, I would have had less than 1%, a different feeling if it had been Duke or somebody else like that.
Okay. And then
I really would.
And the second one was at the Final Four.
Yep.
In the NC State Purdue game.
Yep.
And
You got great tickets, by the way, at the Final Four.
I was on the NABC board for 104
Okay.
years.
Yeah, they better hook you
They
up.
should have given me something.
Yeah.
I know what I paid for my tickets.
And I paid for mine.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it really was. I don't know how much you'd have to ask Wanda, but I know we paid.
But you were caught on camera, and it went on the internet, and you were like shaking your head in disgust at something, and people were, see, NC State did something good, and Roy's just beside himself. I'm like, I don't buy that. I think the coach kicked in at that point. What did you see when you went viral?
Well, I'm glad they felt like that because it doesn't bother me if they stay pissed off at me the rest of my life. I'll be happy. But you're exactly right. It had nothing to do with the fact that NC State. I turned to my wife and I said, I can't believe that a guy gets beat backdoor in the freaking Final Four. I mean, they've gone over that play. Oh my gosh, and so that's exactly when I turned to Wanda and said, can you believe that? And then everybody thought it was because somebody, State did something good, and I was ticked off. I was just saying, if that had been my player that got beat on a backdoor cut on that play, it would have been go see if I could run out there on the court and act like I was hugging him and be trying to choke him.
You got a gift from our friends at the PGA Tour Superstore today.
Yeah,
This is really nice.
it's beautiful.
I mean, this is a brand new TaylorMade. You got your Tar Heel colorway there. You need a new shaft, though.
Yeah, I think I need a new shaft.
And the grip.
The grip is great, but the guy last night asked me what I was driving. I said a TaylorMade, and he said, how old? And I said, 5 or 6 or 7. And he said, what kind of shaft? And I said, I don't know. And he said, what kind of loft? I said, I don't know. I just hit it, and it's pretty good. So he said that I needed to try the new style.
I knew it was a TaylorMade because Brendan, our friend, came up and I said, if he was playing Titleist or if he was playing a different brand, I know Roy Williams. He would not play it because the way you are, that you're set. It's not the brand itself. It's that this is what I'm used to. This is what I like to play. So I'm glad it was a TaylorMade. I'm glad this is the new upgrade for you.
Yeah, we'll find out if when I get a new shaft in there. I'll talk to Brendan and those guys and see if they think that would help. But I like the club. I just didn't hit it as well as I do with the one I'm hitting right now.
It's also hard to play with a pro.
Well, Ryan Gerard's one of my heroes. Boy, he's not just a pro; he's one of my heroes. But, I love playing in pro-ams, playing with guys. Last year in Charlotte at the Wells Fargo on 18, I was in the back bunker, and JT Poston was my partner, and hold it from the bunker for 3 for 2, and 3,000 people were screaming, and 13,000 told me they saw it. So it was a neat deal.
ACC solidarity with the postman there.
Yeah, Big JT, he's really a good kid.
Does it? I know it does, but does it sadden you to see the state of the conference and where we're seemingly headed?
Well, I am a little sad, but it's not just because I think we've had such poor leadership the last 10 or 15 years. The only thing we've done in college athletics is react to everything and react to what the media says, or react to what one person says, or react to the fans, instead of trying to decide what's truly best for the overall, for the kid, the school, everybody. And so I'm sad for that part. But the best thing? When that referee steps in the circle to throw the ball up and it's Duke, North Carolina, North Carolina State, it's still both those teams, kids playing their butts off. And I could still do that. It's just off the court stuff. It's gotten so much in front of what I think college athletics should be. And I'm not against giving kids money. That's not what it is. But name, image, and likeness, when you hear that, that means you should take your name or your image or your likeness and talk to a car dealer and do an ad, or a clothing store and do an ad or something like that. And that's not what we have. Right now, what we have is play for pay. And that's not what it was intended to be.
It's going to go even more so in that direction after House versus NCAA. And, I mean, how much do you talk to Hubert about these kind of things? I mean, is it something that he just openly talks to you about? Is it something that you guys just try to avoid and you just talk straight basketball? How does that work?
Well, basically, I just try to stay out of his way.
Yeah.
I really do. And we talk when he wants to talk. And he and I have had a couple of really good discussions about the state of what college athletics and basketball is, but no, we spend time trying to be more focused on what he can handle, what he can do, and what the players can do, and boxing out better, don't turn the ball over, sprint the floor, and those kind of things. That's what we talk about.
Is that hard for you?
For what?
You dispelled the myth that Dean was banished to the basement.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In another radio forum, we talked about that.
Yeah.
That's not really what happened.
No, I mean, Coach wanted to be down there. I had to argue with him to get him upstairs when we did the remodeling.
But he would also offer his 2 cents, offer some of his advice when asked.
I loved it.
In the role that you're in now, is it hard for you to wait for Hubert to ask? Or do you not grip it that tight?
No, I'm not gripping it that tight.
Okay.
No, he knows that I'm there. He and I have talked some things that are really important to him. He's called and said, what do you think? And I've appreciated that. I've been flattered by it. But Coach Smith and I had it was a different relationship. And I mean, I thought he was God. And I really did. And I'm not trying to be funny or anything like that. But after every game, he used to leave a message for me on my private line. And I would almost run into the office that morning to see what he said. He used to write notes when he'd come to watch practice and write down notes. And the most serious I ever saw Coach Dean Smith in my life, he said, I need 2 minutes. And I said, okay, what you got? He said, it would kill me if I gave you a suggestion and if you tried it, if you didn't think it was the right thing. And I said, no, Coach, I said, you taught me, you trained me. If you give me a suggestion and I don't think it fits my team, I'm not going to waste the time on it. But also, you're not going to do that. He says, no, there might be some time. And I said, well, very often I'm just blanket, just accept it. Every now and then I'll say, I'm not going to do this because so-and-so. He said, you don't have to explain it to me. I said, no, but Coach, I love you and you are my teacher. But I loved those kind of things. I grasped one. I thought it was great. When he'd come to practice, I'd walk over and say hello and shake his hand or hug him or whatever. And it was a thrill for me for him to be at practice as often as I could get him to practice.
How much is, when you were recruiting, before everything started to change over, how much time would you spend in the course of a year recruiting a kid?
When I was a little wacko. Okay, so
This is the guy who wins his first championship and goes to Tyler Hansborough's house to play ping pong. you know?
Yeah.
at one time I think we had 120 recruiting days.
Okay.
And so as man days, if I went and Steve Robinson and Joe Holliday and Hubert went, if all four of us went, that was 4.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a chart that we kept. And nobody ever spent more days recruiting. None of my assistants ever spent more days recruiting than I did.
Okay.
And so at that top line, it would say RW. I might have 120 days. I might have 60 of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's I never wanted to be sitting at home resting when my guys were out recruiting.
Now, would you think there's a breaking point when you have to add the transfer portal? Like, so take what you were doing then, and trying to get a kid to show up in the first place,
Yeah.
on top of understanding that somebody might leave and you're going to have to find a replacement. So you add that on top of it. I mean, how much of a, just watching it from Hubert's perspective, how much of a strain is that on top of what you're already doing?
Well, you know, it is a strain. There's no question. But I have not sat down and asked myself, how would you do it now?
Yeah.
I have never asked that question.
Too busy
And,
golfing.
Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to make more birdies. But for me, I would have done it very close to what I did.
Okay.
But I never wanted my assistants to feel like, God, we played last night, we graded tape, we didn't get bed till 2 o'clock, and I'm on an 8 o'clock flight. I wanted them to know that I was on the 7 a.m. flight. But it is different. The last 10 years, of my career, I thought it would have been tough for Coach Smith to coach with all the junk that was going on then.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I think that same thing about Roy Williams.
Okay.
Because I used to go in a home for a 2-hour visit, and the first 40 minutes was about our school, our culture, education, and what you wanted to major in and all this kind of stuff. And now, you know, you almost don't talk about that. You go in a home, and instead of the kid and the parents, it's a kid and the parents and the agent and the agent's agent and the agent's agent's agent. So it's a different thing now.
A lot of middlemen involved there.
Yeah, and I never did well in those scenarios.
Yeah. Your memory is such that I know you're going to know the answer to this. One of my favorite moments from this basketball season, you saw Hunter Salas.
Yeah.
And I hadn't even realized that you had recruited him out of high school. What was that conversation like when you see that? When you see a guy maybe that connects you to your past? And
See, I'd recruited him really hard.
Yeah.
But that was the COVID year.
Okay.
After the COVID year, and so they couldn't take campus visits. So he had visited Gonzaga, and he never got to visit North Carolina. And his parents were great. Mom was great. Sister was great. I think we were very close to getting him to come, but it was hard. And his dad said something that was very true. How can you commit to a place you've never even seen? And so I was very close, again, especially to the mom. And so when we played Wake Forest, I went down at halftime and said hello to Mom, and they some video, and it got out. I don't know if it was viral or virus or whatever it was. But no, I think I liked him, and just because he decided to go somewhere else, shouldn't change that.
So you got a chance to win this week, Ryan?
Ryan Girard's got a chance to be a very, very successful pro, not just here in Raleigh, North Carolina. He's going to work at it. And when he gets tired, he's going to still work at it. He's going to take care of his body. He's going to do the right things. He's got parts of the game that very few people have. I was fortunate enough to watch him for 9 holes there. He made 4 birdies in 9 holes.
You got really heavy there at the end.
What's that?
You got really heavy there at the end.
I was 185 at every entire round, boy.
He's carried.
Except for 17, about the only shot we played of mine the whole day. But Ryan's one of those guys that I always take a little bit of what I think Roy Williams. I think I was a grinder, and that's what I think that young man is. I think he's a grinder, and I don't think anybody's going to outwork him. And that was my whole thing. I didn't want anybody to outwork my butt.
If my math's right, Ryan's one of the guys from the COVID year when you and Wanda gave money to the athletic
Yeah.
department
Yeah.
that he would have benefited from?
Yeah, but it's that was something that should have been done, and it was an easy deal to do it. It's no big deal.
Before we let you go, and
I bet you Ryan has a different thought that it was no big
maybe,
deal.
maybe.
I bet he's pretty
talk-
appreciative.
We'll talk to him about that. We'll talk to him about that.
Okay.
You and Wanda, this is something that I've noticed every time I go to the Smith Center. I'm going back up to grab something or whatever, and you're in your seat. You and Wanda are in your seat, and there's a line. There's just this line going up the stairs, waiting to get a photo with you. You all got that down to a science now with security? How does that work now? When's the cutoff point? It's great that you take all those photos. That's a
Yeah.
lot. For
There's only
somebody to
one
do.
rule.
Well, it's hard.
Yeah.
But I love people. I enjoy doing it. But I usually do 12 to 15 minutes before every game.
Yeah.
I say when it gets to 8 minutes on the clock, I tell security to cut it off. If there's still a line, go up there at the back and say, you're not going to make it kind
Yeah.
of thing. But it doesn't do any good because this year, one time, I got out there a little early. And I mean, I went for almost 20 minutes. And at the end of the game, most people understand now. At the end of the game, I'm not signing anything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying hello to
People still want you to sign
Beyonce or
stuff?
Michael Jordan or anything. At the end of the game, I'm getting in the car and getting my butt out of there. One of my goals is to be in my car moving before Hubert gets to the press conference.
Okay.
And
you
so
can
this
listen.
year, this one long line, I'd stayed there for 20 minutes. I'd signed everything you could sign.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm almost jogging out of there. And the guy says, Coach, can I get a picture? I said, no, it's after the game. He said, well, it's just one picture. I said, well, get your blankety blank in line like everybody else. And I went, so you can't make everybody happy. So it's no big deal.
No, it's just something I'm curious because watching you here at the Pro-Am, you have a staff coming up wanting to take a picture, and you're more than happy to do it. I always just wondered, like, what's the timer in your head, and how do you handle when, like, that situation? Like, hey, can I get a picture? But like, no, you want to get. I don't blame you because I've been on 54 trying to get back to 40. Forget
Guys,
that traffic, man.
You know what's neat? Now when I leave and go out that back to the office door,
Yeah.
people say, back up, let Coach through. They let me get to my car so fast now. It's a neat deal.
Perfect.
There's only one rule you just can't do.
Yeah.
You won't do that.
Yeah, can't do that.
I just got back from Spain.
Yeah.
Wanda wanted to go to Spain. We went to Spain.
Okay.
We're at some great place, beautiful place. And the guy comes over and says, you're Roy Williams, aren't you? And I said, yes. He said, can we have a picture with you? And I said, yeah.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, 15 to 16 kids came around. I said, are you guys here on a school trip? And they said, yes. And I said, where do you go to school? And they said, North Carolina State. And I said, you got to be kidding me. And they said, can you do this? And I said, not in this picture, honey, not in this picture.
Roy, we appreciate the
the
time.
only
All
rule.
right, guys. Thank you very much. Have
Thanks,
a good day.
Coach.
Take care of this.
So that was Roy Williams with us yesterday. We got him. It was close. It almost happened, Joe. It almost happened.
You know how some state fans love that Debbie always called them UNC Chapel
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
You have to think a little bit about it, but Roy's insult to state is calling them North Carolina State, not NC State,
Not NC State.
not State.
Nope.
North Carolina.
Yes.
State.
That's all part of Roy's charm. All part of Roy's charm.
No, he said he texted Kevin
He did.
after the
He did.
ACC championship, said he wasn't mad.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but
Look,
I'll tell you I'm going to tell you really why he was mad.
why was he mad?
He has an unbelievable Argyle sweater that he wore when they kicked State's ass at the
Mhm.
Smith Center, and then he wore it again at the championship game. And
That's what it was.
now he could no longer wear it. So that's really why he's not mad that State won. He's
Yeah.
mad he can't wear that sweater anymore.
He has to be really, really careful with what he wears in those situations.
Oh yeah.
Because if you really, really like something, you better
You
be
know.
damn sure you're gonna win.
Well, he got smart. The purple Argyle stripe,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
black purple stripe that he wore when they beat Gonzaga for the national championship. He immediately put that over in the UNC Hall of Fame. So
Love that. We want you to head on over to Nature's Relief. Head on over to Nature's Relief hempstore.com, RELEAF hempstore.com. You might be like me, and your relationship with beer isn't what it used to be. So you're trying to cut back on such things. So what do? You might maybe want to go the Cali sober lifestyle, right? Well,
Delta 8, Delta 9,
Mhm.
just CBD. They got, what's the one that the easy sipper? Not the hippie sip, but the other one that you were like saying is an actual alcohol
Oh yeah,
replacement.
that's the nowadays.
Nowadays.
It looks like a Casamigos bottle.
Yeah.
And you can make mocktails with it. You can do. There's a recipe to make popsicles with it if you want to. So there's all sorts of ways you can go about this. I was gonna say you just perked up with
Put me in
popsicle.
my zone. Don't let me get in my zone.
I don't know, man. Maybe here we go from that guy. Went to Nature's Relief after I saw your podcast there, and I can definitely recommend those 3 milligram sweet teas.
Yeah.
Great stuff. That's right. You had the
Those
sweet
were
tea.
super light. I got some of those for the beach this past weekend.
I don't know,
Those were easy.
Maybe what you can do is you can put the nowadays in some Two Roosters.
Ooh.
Right.
That would be
Maybe we can talk to Jared about doing something like that. I don't know. I'm just looking for more corporate champion synergy. That's all I'm saying. So head on over to tworoosters.com. You can check out their rotating flavors. Maybe we can convince them to do something like this in the future. That would be a lot of fun.
We're set up for a National Ice Cream Day with our rooster friends.
We are. We should be there in July,
Okay.
right before theoretically we go to ACC kickoff. Although we're
Okay.
still trying to figure out whether or not we want to do that. Right.
I mean,
It's 4 days.
Since we got reprimanded and for going to Charlotte and trying to have fun. We'll see.
Well, maybe we just go and we don't
We'll
have
see.
fun.
Yeah, we'll just be like super straight. Why don't we do? We'll have a radio bit. We'll bring Demetri into the
Baby, that's what we do.
We'll have the straightest radio row, Coach.
Let's talk about your 3D.
Coach, I've got your Warren Nolan stats up here, and for 80% of the time you play man, and I don't know if you know this, but that 19% of the time that you were in zone, your team's average point possession
man.
was
Maybe that's what we do. Maybe we go in suits.
yes.
We just
Get the
go in
press hats.
suits and put the little card in there that
Mhm.
says press, and we only ask the most football questions possible.
Yes.
All right, I like this.
Yes.
Head on over to the Butcher's Market, butchersmarkets.com, and you can get your stuff for this weekend. I know you're Mr. Hot Dog over there.
You gotta
Don't sleep on the
curb me
burgers.
during the ad reads, sir.
What's that?
Sometimes you have to curb me during the ad reads to make sure I don't go off the rails.
It's okay.
There was going to be a Dabo joke in there, but I curbed myself.
Right, because we have to be serious.
No,
now.
we're very serious.
Serious podcast.
There's the only
with
reason to
serious
be
football.
here.
You're right.
I mean, the conference is burning and dying around you, but you should
And
be.
even though we don't get a cut of any of the revenue, we are here to support the league.
Yes, we
And
work
just-
for you
And just
without being paid.
and essentially just
Kind of
think-
like the athletes.
yeah, and just think that everything's great. Everything you're doing is awesome.
Wait, you guys sell ads? What do you mean? That's your name,
Brilliant.
image, and likeness.
Brilliant. Butcher's Market is brilliant. All right. I think the sarcasm is done here. So check out the butchersmarkets.com and go get yourself, I don't know, something to grill this
Home
weekend.
base,
Or,
Lake Boone, OG Epicenter. Go check them out.
or like what I'm doing today. I'm just going to go ahead and make the 3 cheese ravioli that's been frozen. It's going to be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Joining us in studio right now is Demetri Ravanos. He's going to do his binder full of radio bits. Demetri, what up, man?
Not a lot, Joe. Giglio, I just last night ran afoul of one of my wife's, I don't think he's her boss, but like a work uppity up.
Okay.
That is a Clemson fan
Uh-oh.
who asked me if I was ready for Clemson to join the SEC. And I
No,
said, come on, they're going
stop
to
it.
join. I said they will join the AAC. To which he laughed because he thought I was kidding. And then I said, Dabo will have some sort of line like, you know, people say we're AAC now, but we've been AAC all the time, always adhering to Christ.
So
Name, image, and likeness.
That's right.
His
name. and
I
Name,
can
image,
tell
and
you
likeness.
don't have to deal with the Tigers because they don't mind it when you pee, but they don't like the Z.
Oh, yeah.
The way you say it, they don't like that.
I mean, I think we have.
Clemson.
yeah, you're
Yeah, I
okay
don't
with
like that.
Klemp. That's why I exaggerate it because I'm
Interesting.
like you. I kind of say it the same
Interesting.
way.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, do not call us Clemson. There's no Z in there.
All right.
I have acknowledged this over and over again. I don't respect any of you in this conference.
I don't care anyway.
That's fine. That's why we bring you on. Basically, like, hey, ACC sucks. Like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to argue that. Well, it's
Just
funny.
wait till Florida State and Clemson leave.
We'll see about that. The ACC just reported their. What I love about college athletics is the ACC just reported, or we got their report. You know how much money they've made. They've like tripled their revenue.
Yeah, was it like just over 700 million?
Yeah. And it's like they've tripled the revenue. Everything's going in the right direction. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah,
growth,
yeah.
growth. Everything's big. But it's still like damn it, we're so poor. I'm like, you keep making money. The problem continues to be you're not making enough money.
There is no such
so
thing.
Freaking funny to me.
Yeah, there's no such thing as enough money to businesses or people that get to a certain point because, you're 120 million behind the Big Ten. You're not going poor.
No, you're doing just fine. You got a nice house. You got nice teams, all that kind of stuff. From Justin on the YouTube comments.
Dabo's got a castle.
Thank you, Greg Sankey, for finally clearing up why the athletes shouldn't want to be employees. It's the taxes. They don't want to deal with that's what it is.
Greg Sankey is so embarrassing as an SEC guy.
He is and he isn't.
Where we like him.
You know why we like him?
He cuts to the chase, man.
Dude, Joe's right. He cuts to the chase. Number one. Number two, I like him because with all the private capital, private equity stuff saying, you understand that they expect that money back.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that he is bad at his job. I'm saying that, man, if you need a straw man, Greg Sankey is ready. Greg Sankey's on the ball, brother.
That's true. All right, so you're here for two reasons.
Yes.
One is to play our stupid summer bit. Demetri's binder of radio
totally
bits.
serious. This is what real radio people
Real
do.
radio. We talk about football all the time.
I would like for us from now on to come in suits on Thursdays.
I propose tank tops on Thursdays.
Why not both?
Maybe I can find a tuxedo tank top.
I bet you could.
I probably can.
Kenny Powers had one.
We have, all right, speaking of radio stuff, Joe accused me of going radio man by talking about ticket sales for the podcast festival. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they've been pretty robust. We're not too far away from we're not too far from a sellout.
I asked you, were we doing a radio thing or were we legitimately moving some units?
No, we were moving some units.
Yeah,
so we're over halfway there.
We're over halfway there. It's going to be a great show, man. I was up in Indianapolis last Friday with Shutdown Full Cast guys and some new friends that we'll talk about here in just a moment. But man, their audience is so dedicated to being wherever they are. This is going to be a party. Like, I think it's going to start from the moment you guys hit the stage, and it's not going to end until we're done with the after party.
And big thanks to Breeze Through. I'm going to go ahead and put Breeze Through up here. In fact, we were actually texting with Adam from
he played in the Pro-Am yesterday.
Kind of bummed out. He invited you to be his caddy
Next year, yes.
But I believe we're going to use OG bucks to get the remote controlled hand cart, and you'll remote that and walk around with him. How's that work? Who knows? Yeah, but Breeze Through is our presenting sponsor for the Sports Podcast Festival with Shutdown Fullcast, Hand in the Dirt, and us, and it'll be a lot of fun. So again, robust ticket sales. I actually was texting with Hayes yesterday. He's like, yeah, man, I'm pretty happy with how things are turning out. And I think ultimately the biggest thing is people are going to be happy and entertained with this sort of thing. And it's not just watching dudes do podcasts.
No, I mean, look, I've been saying all along that part of the reason we picked the 3 shows that we did is it's going to be very easy to have some crossover. And it's 3 shows that take themselves unseriously enough that we are probably going to build in some extended time between sets.
Yeah.
So that people can get their drinks, get their, I know both shows want to sell merchandise.
We should sell merchandise. That's why I got to get it. I got it on the hats. All about the hats. Speaking of merchandise,
yes,
this is all part of the announcement. So what do we got here?
Well, when I was up in Indianapolis on Friday, it was not to see my friends from the Shutdown Fullcast, although I do like all of them very much and appreciated my time with them. It was to solidify that we have a new corporate champion for the podcast festival.
Let's go.
Please welcome Home Field Apparel, the official after party sponsor. There will be a party after the show, and they are also providing show merch.
Yes.
We are going to have a exclusive. You could only get it by coming to the show.
Yeah, it's not going to go online. We're not going to have you Venmo us and you show up to the studio. You got to go.
Our friend Anna has put together the design for not t-shirt. We're doing a hoodie.
This was a controversial pick, by the way.
Oh,
the folks at Home Field.
Yeah.
The folks at Home Field couldn't believe we wanted to do a hoodie with the show being in August. And my argument was that, you don't have to wear it now.
No, you don't.
And
although you might.
I will.
Yeah. Oh, listen, my son went to school today in a hoodie.
Oh, dude.
And blue jeans.
I wore one yesterday.
It's gonna be 90.
Jacob wears he wears an Ovies Giglio hoodie or a hockey tournament hoodie all the damn time in shorts. It doesn't matter the temperature.
See, my son doesn't even go shorts.
Oh, see, that's
now, like I know you've been spared from the
sickos.
family jeans, but as a fat, this makes me very, very
that's offensive.
Yeah,
that's very. I'd be sweating.
But yeah, so we're going to do a limited run of Sports Podcast Festival hoodies. Our friend Anna designed it. It incorporates logos from Ovies and Giglio, Hand in the Dirt, and shut down full cast. So it is very much this is the 2024 design.
As long as you burn the picture of me that you used on social media last week.
What? You were so
be
young
fine.
and spry.
I think he did that with all of us. I mean, I saw Demetri with hair.
That's right.
That's how old
That's
photo
right. That was Demetri at prom.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a good look.
Was it?
It was. I was 15.
Why'd you look
Wait.
30 already?
Why were you
It's
at the
rough.
prom at 15?
Julia, I had a way
Riz.
with the ladies back then.
Wow.
The woman or the girl I went to that prom with, I sleep with her every night.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. Secured the bag.
Indeed.
All right. So that's awesome with home field. I'm very excited about that. E-Tix, go to the Rialto's website, buy the tickets today. And a reminder that the home field hoodies you can only get at the event.
Yep.
I'm kind of like that with the OG hats too. Well, the
Yeah.
flag hoodie, the flag hat, that's going to be an exclusive at the event.
Hookers in gray. Yes.
I'm sorry, what?
Excuse me.
My Civil War joke, man. Every time the 5-panel hat that you like looks like a Civil War kepe.
Yeah. So when you put it like that, I think I'm
So
gonna
it can't be gray.
no, I think I'm gonna transition to a dad hat.
Okay.
I'm gonna go away from the 5-panel hat. I'm the weirdo who likes a 5-panel hat
You
because
do.
I got a long face and the
You
beard,
do.
and I look good in a 5-panel
Yeah.
hat. It is what it is. And I might have purchased a new Mickey Mouse 5-panel hat that I found on eBay for $15. You can respect this, Demetri.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, you can respect this. And I will.
Who else was excited that you were going to? Oh, Alan. I was like, someone else was like, oh, have fun at Disney. I'm like, he's a grown ass man and he's going to Disney.
care.
Like,
This might tie
What are we
into
doing?
our radio bit. So, Demetri, the other reason why you're here, let's get to the radio bit, shall we?
Sure.
Let's. We need intro music.
I know.
For this.
I could take care of that. for us next time.
maybe bluegrass intro music for this. I don't know.
thunderstruck.
But yes, that's the way to go.
All right. So, do you guys know what is going on with summer movies this year?
Nobody's going to them
Exactly.
because
This
why would
is-
I? I'll just wait for HBO.
This is the worst summer box office on record to this point in more than 40 years.
But here, okay, you're the movie dork,
Mhm.
and I love that about you. But this has been a trend that's been happening over the last 15 years.
It has been, but even compared to really in that span that we say this is the worst year on record in the last 40, there's only one year that gets thrown out, and it's 2020. So even in 2021, when we were still trying to figure out, do we do the movie theater thing anymore?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of reasons why. That was still outpacing this, and it's for a lot of reasons.
Look, I watched Dune 2 as Denis Villeneuve intended me to watch it on my phone,
Yeah. I've gone to
on my HBO Max app.
and that's the thing, right? Like, not only is it COVID, but we're also in a time when everybody is spending less money. So these big movies don't look as good.
I
But the other
disagree.
thing,
I disagree.
What-
I think it's deeper than that.
oh, no. There are other things too.
Yeah.
You train the audience now that there's a shorter lag time.
yes.
And then on top of that, right now we are feeling the pinch of the writers and the actors strikes. So you just don't have anything good this summer.
I think it's more what you just said. The window for these things they freak out and they put them right on streaming, and then they have their own life. Back when we were all growing
Sure.
up, we didn't have a choice.
Right.
If you wanted to see that movie, you had to go to the theater to see it. And if you were, I'll wait for it to get to Blockbuster. All right. Well, two problems.
Mhm.
One, it took a long ass time for it to get to Blockbuster. Number one.
Mm.
Number two, when it was released at Blockbuster, even though there was an entire wall of those VHS tapes, could you get one?
Not
On that
always, no.
Friday?
Yeah.
No, not always. So you had to put yourself on a waiting list at times. So these things had a longer shelf life because you would let them kind of marinate in the theater. I think the example most recently was Disney's Elemental.
Mm.
It was panned by critics,
Mhm.
but when Iger came back, they made a decision. Keep it in theaters a little longer, and word of mouth happened. Like, I bored with the kids. I got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
It's hot out. It's raining. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to take the kids to go see this Disney movie that's actually still in the theater and not on Disney Plus.
I think
And it actually did pretty well, all things considered.
I think that the problem is, so there have been some interesting, like, I think the new Planet of the Apes movie is pretty good.
Okay.
I thought The Fall Guy was excellent. I thought it was a wonderful movie.
Sure.
But those aren't the kind of things that people feel the need to go out and see night number one and then come back and evangelize about.
Yeah, I guess.
Now, I will go see any movie with a monkey in it, but I'm in the minority.
The other problem, as I was doing my research today, looking up the biggest movies from the 80s and the 90s,
Yeah.
Harrison Ford's in almost every single fucking one of these movies.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It's
Like-
crazy, right?
Like you look it up and you're like, oh yeah.
But what did we learn last year?
And then if it wasn't Harrison Ford, you're like, well, Will Smith in the 90s had a run where it's like who is the bankable movie star? It's the same problem. Tom Cruise, you look at the number that Tom Cruise was in.
Yeah, Cruise still brings people to the box office.
And he did in Top Gun and whatever. But
yeah,
But here's the thing.
they're like presidential candidates, though. Like we have our generation, the Gen X, has completely screwed everybody by not having serviceable movie stars.
Tom Cruise's last movie did not open.
The Mission Impossible?
Mission Impossible, yeah.
It was kind
But
of,
also, like I think coming off of Barbie, a lot of people thought Ryan Gosling might be that guy, and then look what happened with Fall Guy.
yeah.
Did you watch? I did not expect either one of you to watch this, but did you watch Rafael Nadal's last match at Roland
No.
Garros?
Did not watch.
He looks like Tom Cruise in a Mission Impossible movie.
Oh.
That's for a minute there, I thought it was Tom Cruise cosplaying on a tennis court.
All right. So what is your Demetri binder of radio bits today?
Well, gentlemen, last week we did a draft. I want to ease you guys into the pool. So draft week 1, Mount Rushmore week 2.
Oh, yes.
I didn't even know it was Mount Rushmore.
Let's think back to happier times. Give me your Mount Rushmore of summer blockbuster movies.
Okay.
And just because I take a movie does not mean you can't take a movie as well. It's a Mount Rushmore.
Do we want to do this top 4 or 4 style where we all go around, or you just want to unveil?
I do think it is. We all go.
We'll just go. Okay. All right. Okay, this is obvious. Number 1 on my Mount Rushmore of summer block. It has to be a summer. I mean, here's what I'm going to do.
You want to set a parameter here?
No, I'm going to set my own parameters.
Because there's a couple of Mays in there that'll.
I can tell you what the
May
definition
counts,
is.
May counts?
May counts.
Yeah, May 1
well, you
to.
got 2 up there then. Although
Yeah.
I don't think you like Jedi.
So the industry the movie industry considers May 1 to August 1 summer, but the theater industry stretches it to was it Labor Day weekend? Right?
Yeah, Labor Day week. Okay. So here are my own.
So I say May 1 to Labor Day.
These are my personal parameters. Now that I'm thinking about it on the fly, you don't have to adhere to these.
Okay.
I'm just trying to explain why these are going to be on my Mount Rushmore as I'm workshopping here. Number one, they have to be movies that I actually remember seeing in the theater.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Not movies that came out in the summer before I was born. Not like Return of the Jedi. Man, I was 5.
Okay.
I don't
I'm
remember
a
that
little bit
shit.
older than you.
I don't remember that shit. I was 5.
So you missed. So there's 2 of them there that you would have been on your list dead solid.
No Star Wars in my top in my Mount Rushmore.
That's amazing.
None. But so I'm going with I had to see them, and I have to remember it being a huge event.
Yes.
Obviously, the summer matters. It's not a movie that is about summer, whatever.
Did they have cups at McDonald's?
So number 1 is the most obvious one on my Mount Rushmore. It's Jurassic Park.
Mhm.
Jurassic Park has to be on there. When that movie came out, I think I was 13 or 14 when that movie came out. I was such a dipshit. I thought, having gone to Universal when they were promoting it, because they had a big display, all the stuff for Jurassic Park, I legitimately thought they were opening up a Jurassic Park.
You were just early. Not wrong, just early.
Yeah, probably a couple decades
Right.
early, but I mean, at some point. And then, when the movie came out, I mean, the special effects were mind blowing. I still think they hold up
Yep, they
today. More, I mean, they look better than some of the stuff that comes out today, especially the T-Rex effects, man. So anyway, Jurassic Park easily on my Mount Rushmore. Joe,
Joe, I tell you what, do like Joe did, and give me your parameters of how you were thinking as you.
Same, because I'm not a big movie person, which is I came up with 2 90s movies that I actually went to the theater and saw, and it was hard for me because I'm really not a movie person. So all of mine are going to be from the 80s. Not only do I remember going to see them in the theater, I remember which theater I saw them in, because my hometown did not have a theater. So you had to like make an effort to go see a movie.
Yeah.
Okay. You just want my number 1 or you want my number 4?
Yeah, go
Mount
ahead.
Rushmore.
Yeah, it's Mount Rushmore, whichever one you want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with my youngest.
On the left, go left to right.
I'm going to start with my youngest. I don't know why we were in Washington, D.C., but we were. In 1982, the summer of 1982, I was 7 years old. And every single person on the planet did 3 things that year. They watched Joe Montana's first Super Bowl. They watched the last episode of MASH, and they went and saw E.T.
Yeah.
And I remember
very
going to
good.
see E.T. because back then, in those days, we only had M&Ms. And then, because of E.T., we got Reese's Pieces.
That's a good point.
And that is a seminal moment in my youth.
That's a good point.
Very good. All right, my parameters here are sort of a mix. Like if I remember going to see them, if I have a strong memory, that supersedes everything. But I do think you have to consider quality. You have to consider box office.
Yeah.
And when I say consider box office, I just mean not a flop.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. And I think if it is so historically significant, you cannot overlook it, which is why Jaws is my first one on the list. It is
Ooh.
literally the movie that started summer
Summer
blockbuster
movies.
season.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I get that. I mean, Jaws would have been on mine, but again, I had to be old enough to remember that stuff, which gets me to Mount Rushmore. Second from the left would be Terminator 2.
That one
So you're gonna cover
was
the
my
90s
number
here.
5.
I'm going to
Yeah.
cover a lot of the 90s. here.
Late 80s, 90s.
So Terminator 2. Now, this one was distinctive in that it was rated R as a summer blockbuster movie. It was 91.
91,
So I was
yeah.
12. I couldn't get in, but my dad's a real one. So he took. I really wanted to see Terminator 2, so he took me to go see it. Because I guess it still counts now. As long as you were a parent at that
Mhm.
point, it doesn't matter. It's your own discretion. So yeah, I went to go see Terminator 2, and again, you're 12, you're 13, and you're seeing Liquid Metal Man. That's some badass shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and of course, it spawned all sorts of stuff. I mean, there was the video game.
Mhm.
You actually had the little gun,
The arcade game.
the arcade
Yeah.
game, all that stuff. So yeah, as movies where you know what I've seen the meme as of late where it was like, hey man, this kid lied to the cop and saved humanity.
Yep.
So just something to think. Maybe that's what Scotty Scheffler might have learned. It is what it is. All right. So what's your second from the left?
All right, my Abe Lincoln is The Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
In summer 83, I need you to understand something now. Okay, my dad used to work at the Oradell Swim Club, and it was these two huge
Notorious Sith character.
Olympic-sized pools, right? Huge pools. Then there was a kiddie pool, there was an intermediate pool, there were basketball courts, there were ping pong tables, and I thought I was Luke Skywalker. I was 8 years old at this point. And the merch back then, though, Joe, was though you had the Millennium Falcon, which might as well have been $2 million at $1983, and so nobody had it.
Yeah.
And then I had
it.
I had the dumpster, where
The trash chute.
yeah, but it was in the Death Star, like the opened up Death Star.
Yeah.
Okay, they didn't have lightsabers. They didn't make
They did.
Not back then. They made trading cards. They made figurines. They did not have lightsabers.
I remember
Lunchboxes and thermoses.
I
too.
distinctly remember Return of the Jedi. It was plastic ones, and it had a hole in the top, so when you swung it, it would make
the noise
to it.
Well, they didn't
Yeah.
have
Always
them in-
innovating.
They
It's
didn't,
pretty
have,
sweet.
they didn't have that at the Oradell Swim Club.
Okay, got
So
it.
we ran around and we had lightsaber fights with wiffle ball bats. And let me tell you, when you swung and hit, man, on that bear skin,
Yeah, dude.
it
Not
hurt.
great.
So,
Not great.
and one of the days we went and saw the matinee, and I remember the trading cards came out first before I saw the movie, and I'm sitting there, the sand, the pit where Leia and Han and they fight and the whole thing,
The Sarlacc pit. Yeah.
Sarlacc pit. That I remember looking at those cards, going, "What is?" And then of course Leia's in a bikini.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
What is happening?
That's a critical moment.
I'm opening, but I'm seeing this in the cards before I saw the movie, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "What is going to happen in this movie?"
Yeah.
And I was pumped
Yeah.
for the Return of the Jedi.
Little
Okay.
Joe Giglio was going to become a man. That's what was
Oh,
going to happen in
yeah.
that movie.
You wanted to be Jabba.
That's right. Well, who didn't?
I mean, living the life.
All right. I guess my second one is one that you have already mentioned, but if you want to know why it is I love movies the way I love movies is because I remember being 11 and sitting at the Carmike 15 on Government Boulevard in Mobile, Alabama, trying to wrap my head around how the fuck did they make dinosaurs come to life. So Jurassic Park is on my Mount Rushmore. I think I agree with you. Sally and I went to see it on the big screen when they did the 25th anniversary screening in, was it 17?
Yeah.
And only that scene where Sam Neill and the kids are in the tree amongst the brachiosaurs.
Oh, right.
And when they escape, that's the only CG that looks bad.
Yeah, that's the only one. Yeah, because they were using practical effects for the Velociraptors. So, and then again, the T-Rex is. I mean, again, that was practical too. But when he's getting chased with the rear view mirror, it still looks good. All right, my second from the right goes to Gladiator.
Really?
Yes.
It was when it won Best Picture. I want to say it was the first Best Picture winner from the summer in almost 20 years.
So a couple of reasons why. The first one is it kickstarted a really bad phase of movie watching for me. In that, did it have sword and sandals?
Sure.
Then I'm in, because I thought everything was going to be as badass as Gladiator.
Mhm.
Because I mean, from the opening, it basically took all the elements of all these historical epics and made it more visceral.
Yeah.
Right. So you had the opening sequence, you had the gladiator fights themselves.
Tiger.
Yeah, visually it was amazing, all that kind of stuff. And then I'm like, I need that again. Give it to me.
Yeah.
I need another one like that. What was the Brad Pitt one?
That's about Troy.
Troy. Give me Troy. Oh, that sucked. All right. Okay. What's his face? The director, Ridley Scott. He's gonna go back to the well. I mean, he's gonna do one about the Crusades.
Oh, right.
Here we go. Give me one about. Oh man, even though I had Eva Green in it, and that still sucked. So
did this last all the way until we got Pompeii in like 2014? Oh boy.
Yes. If it was a sword and sandal flick, I was like, I gotta watch it. Hopefully it'll be as good as Gladiator. They
Giglio,
were never as good as Gladiator.
Are you familiar with Pompeii at all? Not the disaster, the movie.
I never even saw Gladiator.
really?
Yeah.
Apparently they're making
What year is
Gladiator
it?
2, right?
Yes.
I think that
What-
was
I think later this summer.
I think it was 2001.
Yeah,
That's-
you're
yep.
in the dead Giglio zone. there,
Okay.
man.
Okay. All right.
Pompeii was 2014, and the script was written by a guy who went to visit the ruins of Pompeii and decided every single fossilized human needed a story.
Yeah.
And so the movie is long enough to tell every goddamn person's
yeah.
story.
Oh no.
He's like the George. Everybody needed a name.
Yep.
Like, oh, that creature in the cantina that you saw for a half a millisecond. Yeah, that guy's got a backstory, and we're gonna make a Marvel comic run out of it. Don't do that. All right. What's your second from the right?
All right. So this is my Teddy Roosevelt here.
Teddy.
Is Rocky 3.
Okay.
Mm.
Is that the one with the robot?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh.
This is from 82.
Dead meat.
And Eddie Murphy. I'm in North Jersey. I went to saw this in West Milford.
Oh,
okay,
geez.
I'm young.
All
I'm
right.
super young.
Okay.
But
I
Eddie
bet the
Murphy
crowd
does
had
a
some
whole
choice
thing
comments about
about
it.
how everybody would leave that theater. Every Italian from New Jersey would leave that theater and be like, yeah, I'll get the fucking juju beads and he'll pay for it. You know, like that was spot on because everybody in North Jersey wanted to fight somebody after seeing Rocky 3. And you get, woman, hey, woman,
Love
you
that.
want a real man? Like Mr. T was
That boy.
unbelievable in that movie.
love
And
that.
we had Hulk Hogan.
That's
Kind
right.
of
That's right.
introduced
We did
a
have
whole
that.
generation
We did have
to
that.
Hulk Hogan.
Thunder Lips, right?
Who's
Was it?
Yes.
who's your Teddy?
My Teddy Roosevelt, I am going to go with the original Star Wars. Again, I think you have to go
Yeah.
historical perspective here. Obviously, the franchise most dear to you and I. And
Hey, if Ryan McGee was here, he would tell you all about the time he went to go see it at what is now a Bonefish in North Hills.
I
It was a theater. It was called the Cardinal Theater at
Is
one
that
point
right?
in time. Yeah, that's where he saw Star Wars.
I love to hear stories of people going to see Star Wars for the first time. Stephen Colbert told a great one on his old Comedy Central show when the trailer for The Force Awakens came out.
Oh yeah.
And he was reacting to the number of people that were angry about the lightsaber with blades on the hilt.
Yes.
And he did this long bit about how it would work. And then he told the story that his best friend's dad won tickets to a screening of a movie called Star Wars from a radio station 2 weeks before it came out. And his joke was, so in 2 weeks, you'll all catch up to where I am.
I see.
It's a
I
dynamite.
see. No, I mean, I remember the first time I ever watched Star Wars. It was actually my dad's uncle,
Mm-hmm.
New York, would come down to Miami Beach every summer. They would get a place. Of course, back then, where'd you get HBO?
Yep.
You got them in the hotels or the motel right on the beach. So I distinctly remember it being on in the television while we were waiting to go to the beach, or we'd come back from the beach and the television was on. And it was from the jump, and you see, the whole opening sequence, and they're like, I was transfixed.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what is this? And of course, at that point, my dad's like, oh, okay, it's this movie. You're probably old enough to watch it. So the rest is history. All right. My last item on the Mount Rushmore of summer movies. This one's a little off the beaten path, but it'll make sense when I explain it. Maybe Demetri will get this. I know you won't.
No chance.
But Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
This was another one that I strongly considered because I have a very distinct memory of this.
Again,
Jessica Rabbit is this?
That's very formative with
Yeah.
Jessica Rabbit. No, but with all the qualifiers, things had to live up to the hype. So there's plenty of movies here that did not live up to the hype, despite the fact they were hyped to oblivion. I used to watch the old Ryan Seacrest voiced
Yeah.
trailer show,
Mhm.
right? So I was fed Independence Day nonstop for weeks. And it sucked. It just straight up sucked. Speed, right? It's just Die Hard on a
Don't-
bus.
you don't
Speed
say
was
it.
good.
Speed was
It's
good.
just Die Hard on a bus.
But
Like,
Speed was good.
But I
Pop
wasn't.
quiz, hot shot.
But I
Pop
wasn't
quiz.
old enough. I wasn't
Speed
really.
made my list.
I know, but I wasn't old enough
My,
to see
my
Die
honorable
Hard
mention.
because Die Hard came out in the summer.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, the subsequent Die Hards were not as good. But Who Framed Roger Rabbit is twofold for me because one, in 1988, I'm 9 years old and my mind was blown not by the interactions between like actual human actors and how they did the animation because Disney's been doing that all the way back to like Bedknobs and Broomsticks and
Go
Mary
on, say
Poppins.
It, say it. Say the one we're all thinking of.
Oh yeah, the one that you can't technically see it has been scrubbed from memory, and that would be the Uncle Remus stories,
Song of the South.
Song of the South.
Which, by the way, for all of you edgelords out there, is not good.
It's not.
It's a terrible
movie. It's a terrible movie, and why Disney wanted to make it a thing. Really, I really loved explaining that one to the kids every time we're in line. So why haven't we seen this movie? What is this from? I'm like, well, let's talk about racism, kids. Now, Who Framed Roger Rabbit was mind-blowing at the time because they put Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny on screen for what amounted to 20 seconds?
Something like that.
It was 20 seconds, but that was a big deal.
I was about to say the longer stretch was Daffy and Donald on screen together.
That was an awesome scene too. But the whole thing was putting these cartoons that have been kind of siloed from different companies together on the screen at the same time with an interesting backstory. But it's also kind of dark without realizing.
Oh, it's incredibly dark.
When I watched it as an adult with the kids, I'm like, oh yeah. So here's this psycho cartoon dressed up as a human that is now dropping these cartoons into the dip, and he wants to wipe out the. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Pretty psycho there at the end. Like, yeah, I killed your father. What is happening? Anyway, but the other reason why Who Framed Roger Rabbit was such a big deal is because the carryover effect from the summer of '88 to the summer of '89. Demetri, you can answer this question.
Oh yes.
What opened in the summer of 1989?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
No.
What opened in '89?
Disney, MGM, Hollywood Studios.
Oh. Well, and also Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
And that came out too. And most of what it's all, you can find bits and pieces of it now. In fact, the Starbucks at Hollywood Studios is an old like streetcar thing that was from the movie. So, but most of the old Hollywood from the late 40s, early 50s was all kind of designed to look like scenes from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So as a kid who loved that movie and then going to Disney World the next year and they had opened it up, it was like living it. It's pretty freaking neat. So that's always going to be an impactful thing. So Who Framed Roger, and yes, Jessica Rabbit.
Yes.
He makes me laugh. That was a valuable lesson, by the way. Eddie Valiant is like, what do you see in this dumb rabbit? It's like, he makes me laugh. And I'm like, that's key. That's key, kids.
Could come in handy.
Lastly,
my last and my best, my favorite, I still quote this movie. My fantasy football team is named for this movie. Back to the Future. 1.21 gigawatts.
Love it.
Who's the president? Future boy.
Future boy. Yes, you reference that. You reference that all the time. All right, Demetri, last.
Last one is, I think, my favorite experience seeing a summer movie, 2003, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that this era of summer blockbusters did was spawn franchises that did not need to be franchises. One movie was all we needed. It was perfect. We didn't need 6 other Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
You're going to make money off
That's
of it.
fair.
I mean,
That's fair. All right, man. It's good
All
to
right,
hang. Get out of here. Hold on a second. I'm going to do this. We're just doing it's all live today. So I don't even know.
We'll do this audio.
We'll do it. Hold on a second.
Let
me take this out. Let me remove this from the stage because I don't even know. I don't know what happened with Matt Brown. He never showed up.
Can I tell you how excited I am for that game?
Well, what? NCAA?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, I bet I know what's happening. He thinks it's at 3:30.
Oh,
different time zone.
Different time zone. It's fine. We'll tape with him. It's not that big of a deal. I can always put it in.
He had something in a review that I'm very interested. I do need to hear more about. The throw power now is not just about how far you can throw. It's about does your quarterback throw with zip or does he put too much air under the ball?
Oh, interesting.
That is very interesting.
All right, man. Get out of here. We'll talk to you later.
Yes. Let me ask you a question before I go.
Yes.
Do we want to reveal the design for the hoodie on social media?
We can do that. I need to see the final design.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I haven't even seen the final
Okay,
design
I'll text
yet.
it to you.
Yeah, then maybe we can do that next week.
Okay, sounds good.
We got to tease this out.
All right.
We got weeks to fill, Demetri.
Sweet.
Feel like we should take some sort of hockey break.
Let's take a break.
Let's take a break,
We
shall
got to
we?
take a lunch break.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break.
Brought to you by Happy and Hale.
So yeah, I need to go to Happy and Hale, and I need to get the Almond Brothers, because the Almond Brothers has a little coffee in it.
It does.
Pick me up,
Delicious.
because I'm dragging today. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I'm going to go to Happy and Hale after the show and get one.
So am I.
Good for you.
I will be at Happy and Hill later today.
But we talk about these breaks. If you need like an afternoon pick me up, again, the smoothies are a good way to go about it. But lunch is also a better way to go about this too. And the other thing too, get the app. You can pick up and go as everybody's running around. Totally get that part of it.
pick
Order
it up,
online.
Easy stuff. Get it chopped. Add your dressing if you know you're going to eat it right then, or if you're going to eat it tomorrow, do it the other way.
I love it.
Put your dressing in a cup and save it for tomorrow.
Head on over to WH.lawyer. Whitaker and Hammer, they sponsor us. Longtime corporate champion at WH.lawyer. You got attorneys and counselors at law. They can handle everything from, closing documents on buying and selling a home, or maybe you've got a ridiculous traffic violation like Giglio did. They can handle that for you as well.
Unfortunately, yes, but they can. That's why they're there. WH.lawyer. Josh Whitaker, Joe Hamer, WH.lawyer.
And speaking of homes, let's say I mentioned buying and selling and taking it to closing. Well, if you're looking for a home, myhtr.com. Check out Hometown Realty today. They can help you buy and sell with confidence. You can read about the housing market in other places, but understand around here, there's a bunch of new construction. And if you want the fast track on that and taking advantage of incentives and everything else, Hometown Realty can help you out.
Yeah, go with the real experts. Do it with confidence. Buy and sell with confidence. Go to myhtr.com.
Lightning round.
I feel like the lightning round, I might just rebrand the lightning round as the things that Giglio has sent to me, reels, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that might be the case because we have a lot of things to get to. One of the things you actually sent me today came from Nick Carboni out in Charlotte. Looks like Dave Canales, Panthers head coach, had some press availability. And this video that Nick Carboni had put up on Twitter talks about how Ike Ekwonu, who did not have a great season last year,
Putting it mildly,
detailed why Ekwonu has a chance to succeed at his offense. Stop me if you've heard this one before.
It's a great system for tackles. We run the ball. We throw play action passes, which engages as a run first, gives them a little chance to get their hands on a guy and be physical. We run boots. Okay, our keeper game, where the line is really just selling a run the opposite way. And then in our pass game, the basis of it is to get the ball out quickly. When we do have to hold it, we'll try to help our tackles as much as possible when we can. Sometimes we can't. We got to call that player into protection at times, but it's a really friendly offense for tackles. We know when it becomes a passing game, the advantage is for the rushers. And that's where we at times, we ask the tackles to hold up here. But then there's also that it's the war of attrition, right? It's like both guys are starting to get a little bit tired, and so it evens the playing field out. But I think Icky's been doing a great job. What does he do best? He is a mauler, and we're going to run the ball. And I think when guys are able to just be aggressive and play to their nature, it gives them a lot of confidence in everything else that they do. So I'm excited about where he's at and what we're going to be doing this year with him.
So again, that's
Give me
Dave
the
Canales.
Panthers to make the playoffs now, man.
Look,
I'm in.
Here's the
I'm
thing. Here's the thing. When Matt Rule was the head coach and he talked about, well, we got to run the ball more. We understood he was full of shit. Shout out to Candace Cooper, Locked On ACC podcast, who always put me on that game when she said, the faster he talks, the less you should believe him. So when he would stumble through going Elmer Fudd style on talking about how we needed to run the ball more after throwing it 55 times in a game, well, who's that on, right? And then you get Frank Reich. Again, so I didn't believe anything that Matt Rule said. Frank Reich, I'm thinking, okay, they're being run by adults now. Well, it turns out Frank Reich was in it over his head for whatever reason. Now, I would love to still get an autopsy on what really went wrong behind the scenes with Frank Reich. Was it because Frank Reich probably shouldn't have taken that job in the first place? He thought, I got fired, let me get back on the wagon, I'll be good. Was it more Dave Tepper meddling with the all-star staff and everything else? But when he talked about what they wanted to do and didn't execute it, well, I'm like, well, clearly you're full of shit too. And he got fired in the middle of the season. So
the interim coach is the one who figured out you run the football.
Steve Wilkes was the one who went, hey, so what do we got here? Yeah, let's run the damn ball. And they almost made the playoffs. So when Dave Canales talks, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, I've heard this shit before from other coaches with the Panthers. But with Canales, I'm actually, given the way he presents himself, given his track record, given where he is, I believe what he's saying. And yes, with Ike Ekwonu, if you want him to work, put him in a situation that's beneficial to him.
Yeah, he's one of the few assets you have.
Yes.
And you can't give up on him just yet.
No, you cannot. You cannot. So that is good to see. You know what? I didn't even do the lightning. I'm so flustered by Matt Rule that I didn't even do the
lightning round voice. So here we are, lightning round. Let's get to lightning round item number 2.
So yesterday was the last day for college basketball players to either stay in the NBA draft or get out of the NBA draft.
Okay, this is about my Deeks.
So Caleb Love, he's coming back to Arizona for another year. But is he now a Wildcat for life? Who knows? Hunter Salas, he decided to come back to Wake Forest. You had referenced Hunter Salas to Roy Williams earlier. So he's coming back. No, he's not coming back and set the NBA world on fire.
Oh, Bronny
is staying in the draft, which of course has set forward the conversation about what LeBron James is going to do. Now there's the conspiracy theorists out there that saw Bronny James staying in the draft, and ESPN's draft predictor draft rankings puts Bronny at 55 when the Lakers pick 54. So it's like, well, of course they will pick Bronny James to keep LeBron James happy. But if you're another team and you know that LeBron James wants to get the heck out because he's looking for one last title, why wouldn't you just not draft Bronny James as an asset to either bring on LeBron James or as an asset for the Lakers to do something to get Bronny James? Because I'm convinced that if LeBron's going for one more title and also trying to split the difference with his kid, there's only so many teams who can accommodate that. Phoenix might be one of them because Phoenix is long rumored as a destination for LeBron James. But I'm convinced LeBron James needs to get the hell out of the West. So where do you go from there? If you're the Knicks, do you go, hey, we're set up for you to win and we got your kid?
Yeah.
Right?
All those times they couldn't get LeBron in free agency.
And now they can. Now you've got 2 for the price of 1.
There you go.
So these are just some things to consider now that Bronny James. And this actually gives the NBA draft a shot in the arm.
Yeah,
an absolute shot in the arm.
Top of the board are a lot of international players, a lot of players who didn't play college basketball.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of Kentucky freshmen.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, well, that guy really wasn't that good.
No, definitely not the case. All right, let's get to lightning sound effects.
Lightning round item number 3.
I feel like this is the Joe Giglio sent me a bunch of reels segment. Let's go
Which
to
one is this?
Let's go to an old one. This is from Doug Gottlieb.
Oh, when he got hired.
He took that Green Bay job, the Wisconsin Green Bay job. And this is from WLUK Fox 11, and how Doug Gottlieb says he'll be able to use his radio show to promote the University of Wisconsin Green Bay.
Do you think that people know how pristine this campus is, that it has a view of the lake and how it's set aside from the city and it's clean and you feel like you could leave your car unlocked? Of course not. That's what the radio.
I'm sorry.
I love it so much because somebody.
I'm sorry.
I believe, without knowing the whole context, I believe someone had asked him like, "Hey, how does you still doing your radio show help Green Bay, Wisconsin basketball?"
It's clean. You can leave your car unlocked.
Buddy,
man, that dog whistle is blowing, my dude.
There was some big David Cutcliffe energy too with our campus is super clean. Our women's bathrooms are project number 1 in our renovation.
I guess. I remember the bathrooms. Well, they needed bathroom renovations, man. The bathrooms were trash at Wallace Wade.
It was a classic Duke football.
Show again. I'm not going to be able to do local Green Bay talk. But I am going to be able to talk about the Packers, and I am going to be able to display how enjoyable it is to live in a special place. Like the Fox Valley is an unbelievable place to raise a family. Right? Do people know that? People who live here know that.
What do college players care about that? Dude, this is gonna end so badly.
So good.
I cannot wait.
It's gonna be spectacular.
You know what, Aaron Rodgers, I'm breaking up with you.
You got a new.
My new obsession is gonna be Doug Gottlieb in Green Bay. That's going to be fantastic. All right.
Lightning round item number 4. What other Instagram reel did Joe send me?
This is Jeff Teague, ACC legend.
Oh, I love this one.
Apparently, this is from Alley Clips. He was on a podcast and he was talking about Luka, who's doing the damn thing in the Western Conference Finals.
Luka first year. I'll never forget. I walked up to West. I'm like, Man, y'all gonna let the white dude get the ball the whole game? That's crazy. He looked me dead in my face. He said, that mother cold. He didn't say nothing else. Bro, I said, oh, I said, oh, he must be nice. Next thing I knew, I said, oh, let me shut the up.
That MF for cold. Oh,
So good. You're gonna let the white dude get the ball. I love it.
I enjoyed that. All
Theo
right.
Pinson and Jeff Teague need to be on the ACC network, not these other guys.
I mean, no knock on our friends over at the ACC Network, but you actually might be onto something. Speaking of Theo Pinson, this is another one you sent me.
I like this one.
Nolan Smith with Theo Pinson.
Well-
this is apparently their first Duke guest.
No, but wait
on
a second.
Run the
I-
Race Pod.
I like this one because you might have been an earshot of this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's Nolan Smith talking about the Butler National Championship game in 2010.
That goes out from line, makes the free throw, swishes it, right? He was probably a 63% foul shooter, but he makes the first one. I'm like, all right, cool, go ahead, do it again.
Yeah.
We hear Zoobs, miss it. We look, we're like,
Oh, so this was planned.
it was playing. So we're up 61-59. And so we're like, just go ahead and make the shot. We go up 3. They make a half court shot. We go to overtime.
They told him to
So
miss it.
Coach K yells, miss it. But we've talked about it after. He's like, we were in foul trouble. It was a road game, right? We're playing Butler
Mm-hmm.
in Indianapolis. So it's a road game. So all the variables were against us, right? So he's like, the chances of them making a half court shot are slim,
Yeah.
right? So he's like, miss it, see where they get. But miss was perfect.
He lined it
He
up.
lined,
Perfect.
lined it up perfect. I mean, just douche off the front.
I know your
rim.
heart dropped.
Every time I watch it, I see that shot right now, and I'm like, ooh, my whole life different.
Yeah.
My whole
Hey,
life
listen.
different.
I like that.
He's right. His whole life is
Again,
different.
I enjoy Theo.
Mhm.
I like Nolan too.
I mean, you should reach out to Theo, see if he wants to come on,
Yeah.
or at least contact Roy to be like, "Hey, man,
Hey,
tell Theo, give me the cosign, so we can get Theo on, so we can talk about some stuff, right?"
But yeah, everyone knew that when they did it. By the way, like that was the strategy.
Yeah, that was the
No,
strategy.
the problem was like he said, the miss did bounce like right
right.
to
So yes, this
Hayward,
is-
who got the screen
This
from the other
is-
white guy who just leveled Singler.
So this was something that I do remember from that game because I ended up being a seat vulture and I was right
You were
behind
like-
the Duke
yeah.
bench. Yeah, like anytime they showed Coach K, I was like me
Right
and Brett
there, you and
Strelo,
Streezy were
me and
right
Streezy
there.
right there, right? And I do remember in the kind of panic of what was going on at the end as they're trying to get out of this thing, them yelling and saying, "Hey, no, miss it," blah 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 blah. And yes, best laid plans. Everything bounced the right way, with the exception of one bounce.
One bounce.
One bounce. Everything went well except one. And to this day, much like Nolan Smith is talking about, I thought that thing was going in. You got to remember where I was, again, behind the Duke bench. That shot did look like it was going in, and I thought I was witnessing one of the most incredible NCAA upsets of all time.
Do you know the NC State shit tangent to that story?
No, I don't.
Scott Wood and Gordon Hayward met in the championship game, the Indiana State basketball championship. game. Gordon Hayward hit a shot of a similar length to beat Scott Wood's team at the buzzer before Scott Wood obviously got to NC State. But you see what happens when the Hall of Famers involved. The ball bounces off the rim. But when the future state legends involved, it goes in.
Funny how that works out.
Yes.
That is your lightning round.
Big thanks to Matt Davis over at State Farm for sponsoring us, one of our corporate champions. Check them out online, insuregarner.com, doginsurance.com, or you can call them directly at 919-779-8277.
That's the best move. Give him a call. Figure out what you have right now, what coverage you have right now, and pretty good chance he can save you some money.
Yes, he could. So go do that right now. We also want to talk about saving money at Roback. Go to roback.com, use that promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order.
You can't be a Stay Ready All-Star unless you are with our corporate champion, the official sponsor of the Stay Ready All-Stars, Roback. There was a guy yesterday over playing in the Pro-Am with a Roback shirt on, and I was like, good looking out, man. That's a good shirt. And I don't want to impugn the competition here, but we were given a shirt yesterday and I felt it and I was like, man,
not the same.
because DeChambeau wears that brand.
Mhm.
And I was like, Roback needs to get out there on the tour because they have the best shirt going. They have the best golf shirt there is.
Well, I was rocking the shorts yesterday. Incredibly light, incredibly comfortable. Typically, if I'm wearing shorts in that situation, it was kind of muggy out yesterday. I'm sweating through. No, not an issue.
Not the Roback.
Not in my Roback. So go check them out. Roback.com. Use that promo code OG20. And of course, thanks to our friends at Sporkle. Sporkle.com/OG Triangle. It's Thursday. That means Jason's going to be at Shady's
in the G.
downtown Garner for his music trivia, both at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. It's free. Hang out, get some drinks, have a good time. He'll be at Driftwood Cantina on Sunday. Sporkle's got trivia all over the Triangle, including one of my favorite spots over at House of Hops. And they got it at the Beale Street location. They got one out in Pittsburgh and off of Glenwood as well. So go check out sporkle.com/OG Triangle and go support those who have supported us. Okay, let's get out of here on some Hey Joe OG sports phone questions. Giglio's computer is never turning on today. It's time to go to the Apple store, dude. Hey Joe, why won't Giglio just go to the Apple store?
I don't know.
Do we have enough money?
It's not exactly
You
buy a new computer season, is it?
Not really. Not really.
Not when the family wants to go to New York. We have a tax bill coming up here.
You could sell your bike.
Hey, I love my bike.
That's money that you could have put towards a computer, Joe.
You were waiting on that one.
I was. I absolutely was. All right. You can contact the OG Sports Phone. Give it a call at 919-444-2211. Big thanks to Crank Arm Brewing. You can see me rocking the shirt today. Go to crankarmbrewing.com. Better yet, head on down to their location in downtown Raleigh. Buy their beer at the Butcher's Market as well. So we thank them for sponsoring us. So let's go to OG Sports Phone call number 1.
Hey guys, this is Ethan in Winston-Salem. I've been thinking about this a lot. You know how on Wheel of Fortune, there's that one piece of the wheel that's the tiny sliver and it's like $1 million or something? I think you guys need that for your radio bits wheel, but the sliver for the show would be that Giglio has to slug 2 hippie sips and finish out the episode. I need that in my life. Take care, guys.
So, is that something we could do?
Oh yeah.
All right. We can make that happen. I love that's a
the
great
sips are they'll get you
a
going.
great suggestion. All right. OG Sports Phone number 2. By the way, you can text the OG Sports Phone. I actually had a guy text saying, "Hey, thanks for having the text availability on the sports phone because I don't want to get on social media." I'm like, I respect that. So you can just text us directly with 919-444-2211.
Hey guys, name's Matt. Sorry for calling in the car, but just now that it's off season, I wanted to kind of talk about something I feel like a lot of people have skipped over. Everyone's been talking about how this upcoming football year is NC State's year. Got a good striking distance, got a good schedule, but I was thinking, with the addition of Cal and SMU and Stanford, as the conference just gets bigger, that means there's more and more teams that aren't going to play each other each season. Kind of really increases the likelihood that you have to have an undefeated conference season in order to make it to the ACC playoffs. I think we're kind of done with seeing 7-1 conference teams make it, since not everyone's going to play each other, that often. I know everyone keeps talking about the Tennessee game being the big game of the year, but if I'm Dave Doran, I'm looking at that Clemson game, and that's honestly probably the only game that matters. If you win the ACC championship, you get the automatic bid, and I think it's kind of back to when, we were playing the Atlantic Division. You got to win that Clemson game. It's got to be the biggest circle on your calendar because everyone else seems beatable in the ACC, but I honestly think a one-loss team isn't going to make it to the playoffs this year. All right, that's it. Thank you. Love you guys.
Sir,
Thoughts?
I'm in off-season protocols. I am not in football analysis protocols.
I was actually thinking about that on a walk this morning.
Yeah.
I was listening to the Dan Wetzel, Pat Forty, Ross Dellinger podcast on Yahoo. And the way that they were talking about some stuff. Oh, and on Cover 3 too with our friend Chip Patterson.
Yeah.
Like they're doing summer school. There was an episode about Clemson and I started to listen to it. I'm like, you know what? I am just not in the right mental space to really give a shit about Clemson football right now. So,
Nope.
I guess it's one of those we'll cross that bridge when we get there sort of situations.
We got time.
All right, we'll tell you what. Let's mix it up.
Joe and Joe, I was dying laughing hearing Ovies talk about bluegrass on the beach. So I had to do some research, and I found you a better playlist. You have to look up Jamming. Bluegrass Celebrates Bob Marley from the Pickin' On series. Check it out, Amazon Music.
Excuse me? Hold on. Hold on. Let me. Matt, by the way, I was right about Matt Brown from Extra Points. He's actually in the green room right now.
Okay.
So we're going to talk to him about Madden, or not Madden, College Football 25 here in a second. So we're going. We didn't do a show on Monday, but we've certainly made up for it in the length of shows we had this week.
We got you.
It's fine. It's fine. So anyway, hold on a second. Let me pull up YouTube. So for context, if you have no idea what's going on,
I have none.
Earlier in the week, I explained how we were at the beach and somebody was playing a boombox, which is fine, but they're playing bluegrass at the beach. I'm kind of like, what the hell's going on with bluegrass at the beach? This is not something I associate as relaxing beach music. So let me pull it up on YouTube here. Okay, this is actually a real thing. I've just pulled this up on YouTube. Hopefully we don't get flagged. Is This Love? Jammin'. Bluegrass Celebrates Bob Marley. Are you ready, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting that. No. Just no. I saw that they had a Waiting in Vain, which is one of my favorite Bob Marley's. No. All right. Next up.
Joe, it's Matt. I called earlier about the bluegrass tribute to Bob Marley. Well, here's another great one. There's a bluegrass tribute to Jimmy Buffett. It's a great way to change your beach music into some mountain bluegrass. Enjoy.
Of Joe's least favorite things, bluegrass and Jimmy Buffett.
Hold on.
That's a combo.
Hold on. Because I closed it out because of the ad. Let me look this up. Matt, sorry, you're going to have to wait for this while I find up Margaritaville on YouTube here real quick. All right, there it is. Actually, there's an entire YouTube channel called Pickin' On with various tributes. Pickin' On Jimmy Buffett. You ready for Margaritaville?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? That actually works.
You're okay with that?
Are Jimmy Buffett and bluegrass like
You're
Spider-Man
like
point me right
two
there?
things you hate the most. You put them together and you're like,
I can't with the Bob Marley, man. I absolutely cannot with the Bob Marley. But the Jimmy Buffett somehow kind of sort of worked. Maybe. I don't know. I might have to revisit that on the beach. We shall see. All right, joining us on the Eastern Automotive Group Hotline is our friend Matt Brown. Extra Points is the newsletter. I highly recommend it. Were we triggering some bad memories for you, Matt, with the bluegrass?
Man, I grew up outside of Columbus, which I guess is like during the mid 2000s was an epicenter of like the bluegrass jam band scene. Like, this is where Widespread Panic and Acoustic Hookah and all these people would show up, and I had kind of repressed all the banjos in my life. Until just then brought up, reminds you of certain smells, and just I don't need that in my life anymore. I don't need that.
I love our listeners. They know the things that'll get me going, and bluegrass covers is certainly one of those things. All right, man. So you had a chance to play EA Sports College Football 25, and I only have one question for you. How much of this is just a reskin of Madden, and is it more of like do they actually get because I was thinking about NCAA 14, it got college football. It was distinctly different from Madden, and the day and age that we are in, and cost cutting, and these maxed out development staffs and everything else, the worry was this thing's just going to be a reskin of Madden. So is it?
It really didn't feel that way to me. Like legitimately, one of the biggest takeaways I had from that experience was that the people who are making the blood and guts of this college football game are Reddit sickos, man. Like they are the people that are like, okay, we got to go. We got to test the national championship build. Let's put in Kennesaw State. The people that are waving the old crimson flag on game day. The people that are as into the minutia as you and I and your listeners. Like those are the people that are making it now. Like do the the executives of the company, those kind of people, probably not. They usually never are. But what I played and saw the amount of attention that went into pageantry and atmosphere and very unique campus specific everythings. That felt extremely different from Madden. And I got to play the new Madden the day before. I'm not going to sit there and say that the gameplay is completely different. They're both next gen football games. You can only make them so different, but they don't feel the same thing. The physics and the animations are not the same. And playing the game from the college side feels way more wide open and way faster. And I think part of that, and I'm not saying this to be mean, is that like the talent gap in college is so much wider. Yeah. And because they're trying to, they really spend a lot of time trying to make it seem like freshmen are going to do more stupid things, that you're gonna see more weird stuff in a college game than you are in the NFL, no doubt about it.
Okay, the other question that I have is the option. Like the whole key to the NCAA games, where if you pick the right team with the right quarterback who was fast enough, you could absolutely put the work on the computer opponent if you knew how to execute the option. Now they've had 10 years to figure this out. How's the option work now?
So there's two big changes. There's, I guess, three big changes, right? So the first is just in explicit mechanics. There's different pitch options now, right? You can decide whether you're going to do a short pitch or a long pitch, depending on what makes the most strategic sense. And that playbook's opened up. When Wake Forest is doing that slow handoff thing, that's going to look real different than how Army does it or how Kansas State does it, right? Okay. So you have a couple of different flavors. I found that the game does not hold your hand as much in making the right read as 2014. Like there's this big circle over the defensive end you got to read, and if you miss this more than 1 out of 5 times, like I can't help you. Yeah. I got rocked the first couple of times I tried it. The other big difference though is the system they're calling wear and tear, which I think is part to limit that exact exploit from the last time, right? If you're a 170-pound dripping wet speed quarterback, and you're keeping the ball in the option and you're sprinting. In the old game, you could get 160 yards rushing without a problem. Mm-hmm. Here, you can do that for a while, but if you take enough big hits from somebody who's 290 pounds, by the third or fourth quarter, you're gonna feel it. Like, and your speed's gonna decrease, your throw power is gonna decrease, your awareness will change, and that hit, how much those things hurt you will depend on how big the guy was that hit you and your own strength rating. So I think that depth and not cheesing the same 3 plays again and again and again are going to matter more in this edition.
What was your favorite part about the new game, and how many hours do you think you were able to play? How many games were you able to cram in?
No, so I legitimately did not finish a single game because my thought was I'm going to probably be going a lot of sports radio markets, and they're going to ask me, what was my team? So I better go try as many of these teams as I could. So I would usually quit after the first quarter or quit at halftime. The team that I actually had the most fun playing with was Tulane. And part of that's because Tulane's got the best uniforms, I think, in the game. You've got 12 different options. You can mix and match. There's one thing that sports writers love more than Bruce Springsteen. I think it's baby blue anything, right? So Tulane's got all of those options, but I was able to throw the ball downfield really well. The new stadium looks great. Mm-hmm. But it was legitimately really fun to just sit there and quit after a couple of series just to see what pregame looked like everywhere. Let me see what your locker room looks like. What statue are you touching? What does your sign say coming out of there? What are your students chanting that's not R-rated? Because I haven't had a chance to travel to all these places. And the old game, and certainly in Madden, a lot of these things look the same. And that's definitely not the case in this game.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I was always fascinated with the college games, right down to when Sega Sports did their own college football 2K. I think Drew Brees was on the cover. That was the version that I had on the Dreamcast. It was cool just to see the stadium setups and everything else.
Yeah.
All right. NIL. If I'm doing career mode, dynasty mode, how do they?
Oh no.
So, they got it. I mean, no. The rules are changing all the time. So now I'm curious, how do they handle the whole NIL aspect of this when it comes to recruiting?
The NIL component of the game is very, very different depending whether you're playing Dynasty or Road to Glory. Like the mode where you're playing as one person or Dynasty. In Dynasty mode, it's not really a big thing. The stand-in that the company is using for NIL is like your brand rating. And as you win more games on national television and become like you get a bigger Q score, you can offer more brand opportunities. And the biggest reason why it's that vague is for exactly what you said. They're like, we started developing this thing 3 years ago. Like NIL collectives barely existed at the beginning. They might not really exist 8 months after the fact. So you can't really have a payroll mode, right? Press A to commit white collar crime to funnel to a booster. You can't really do it. That might happen next year. In the Road to Glory mode, though, NIL deals are a major component of the playthrough, because in Road to Glory, the really kind of main game loop beyond playing the games themselves is managing a college athlete's extremely limited time. And so you'll have an option here. Okay, like I've got 5 hours. Do I spend it in training to boost my throw power? Do I spend it in the rest and recovery so I'm healthy enough to take a hit? Or do I go sign autographs and go try to get an NIL deal? And maybe some of those NIL deals will provide attribute boosts, right? If I do a deal with Gatorade or some electrolyte recovery beverage, maybe that improves my performance the next week. You have to juggle all of those things.
Interesting.
And some schools will have more NIL opportunities than others.
Okay. Now look, man, I'm 45. I got 2 kids. Small business owner now with Giglio. This ain't 2005. This isn't 2004. I don't have all the time in the world on an up-to-date system like an Xbox 360, et cetera, right? So if you're just a guy who's looking to pick up and play, I mean, is my ass going to get handed to me if I go online? Should I never go online? Like that sort of thing? That's probably a good idea. Never go online. But like, what's the pickup?
For all, right?
What is the pickup and playability of this game for somebody who just doesn't have the time to grind on Dynasty mode?
I've been thinking about that a lot because I'm in the exact same position, right? I'm a little bit younger than you, but I have little kids. I'm a small business owner too. And it was a kind of a surreal experience being at this event because most of the people there were not just national reporters like me and Bud and Andy Staples. It was mostly Madden YouTube guys who play competitively. And they're like, the physics in this animation is broken. And, they're getting really granular. And I'm like, yeah, this might have been me in 2003, but I got back pain now, man. Like this is not my world. I can't relate to this at all. My readers will ask me about it. I'm like, hell if I know, man.
Yeah.
Look, what I can say is, yeah, you probably are going to get your ass handed to you if you go online, like me too. They do have a ladder system, pick up and play online mode called Road to the College Football Playoff.
Yeah,
that's meant to be. To classify players of similar ability level. So you'll get destroyed your first 3 games, then you'll be reset into washed dad mode with a bunch of other people that are running, Wake Forest and Georgia Tech. And you could go 500 there. And then everybody else is going to be in like 13-year-old. I have no responsibilities. I haven't discovered girls yet. I'm just playing this video game. And they're going to win the championship belts. And that's fine. Different experiences for different people. I will join you. We not listening to bluegrass, but in playing in the very casual mode.
Okay, good. That was my curiosity because right now all I have is a Nintendo Switch. I'm pretty sure that's not going to run on the Nintendo Switch.
No, not a chance.
I have an old. I got a 20. My kid's gaming laptop, a Lenovo Legion that should be able to run it with a Bluetooth Xbox controller that I have. So I might have to go about it that way just to check it out. But yeah. There's no way I'm going to.
It's not going to run on PC.
What's that?
You're going to have to. It won't be on PC, so you're going to have to get it on a console.
Oh, I thought it was going to be on PC too.
No,
it's console only.
Year. Console only. PS5 or the whatever the new Xbox is.
Hey Joe, we just found a new thing to expense.
Do you have any idea how many sports writers I have talked to who have had that exact same scenario? And I'm like, which one should I buy? Can you write a note to my wife and explain how I need this for work?
Need it for work.
Joe, yeah.
Man. Just saying. I used to run.
Think of the content. Yeah.
Yes.
You guys listen. You're now content creators. You start your own dynasty of the dads. And,
Joe,
and how can we build? I got you.
You don't need a new MacBook Air that won't turn on. You need a PS5, and I'm sure we
have
can.
one of those.
You have a PS5?
They're on sale.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then bring it in.
Okay.
We'll get the game. I was just trying to find a way to play it. We figured it out. All right, Matt. Appreciate the time, man. Next week, I'm gonna book you right now. I'm gonna book you right now because we have
we'll talk about
like
what the end of college athletics,
other things. Like this was like a fun frivolity type conversation. Next week, I'll shoot you a text, but next week I want to have a longer conversation about NCAA and House and where everything's going right now.
It is the weirdest thing. I'll just say that both of these things are happening at the same time, and I'm just getting whiplash from like being on like the happy video game nerd beat and then also the college sports apocalypse beat, and sometimes having to do both on the same radio hit. And like, what are we gonna do? That's where we are these days.
You're right. All right, dude. Appreciate the time. I'll touch base with you. We'll get on next week to talk about that.
Sounds good. All right, be well,
that
guys.
is Matt Brown, Extra Points. Check out the newsletter. We're big fans of it. I'm a big fan of it. He does great work. That is going to wrap it up for OG Sleek Fleet Live. Next week.
Sleek-fleet.com. I'm not going to Pinehurst, but if you are, hit them up. Make it a lot easier for you because parking and even the shuttle is going to be a mess. So sleek-fleet.com.
I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It
gets the people going.
I hit the wrong one. I am loopy. I need to have lunch.